when you walk with open arms towards the sun. You feel the warmth of the rays, and then you know you're alive, and you don't have to be afraid of anything, 'cause you know.
Welcome to the Bassline. Milton Washington is the inventor and lead instructor of Rokmil Indigenous Fitness based in Harlem, New York City. He is also a photographer, a writer, a curator, and an all-around purveyor of good vibes and good culture in Harlem. I am delighted to welcome to the Bassline the one and only Milton Washington. How are you, brother?
Hey, man, I'm good. After that intro, I'm fantastic.
Excellent. And also, we have my good brother and two-time, well, I guess you could say three-time guest of the Bassline, my friend Kevin Nathaniel, who is our guest co-host for today. And how are you doing, Kevin?
Great, man. Thank you so much. Real pleasure to be here.
Excellent. So we're going to jump right into the discussion. And, I don't ask people about their bios in general, even though I'm interested in everybody's bio because, everyone has a unique life in their own right. But Milton Washington has had a unique life. Mm-hmm. He's had some pretty fascinating, pretty intense experiences, and he's very open about his life and what he's been through. So I want to start with that today in terms of tell us a bit about this unique life story that you have, Milton.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that, man. First of all, let me just tell you a little something about why I'm so open about it. I'm open about it because I just generally subscribe to this notion that, a lot of things that happen to us, people end up quietly carrying all throughout their lives. And I just think that that's just too heavy. And I feel that if you talk about it, you put it out there, it just kind of, much of that weight just leaves you. And I found over the years, as I've spoken about my life, I don't know how many times people come up to me and it's like, Milton, because you said that, I'm finally able to do this, whatever this is, right? So yeah, there's that part, so I feel like I'm on a bit of a mission from God almost, you know what I mean? It's just my job to go and teach this little life hack, but then the other thing is, I come from a very dramatic and maybe even a traumatic life, but I feel like in a lot of ways I didn't get hit, emotionally to the point it wrecked me, because I had my mother who was in the mix, who made sure that she absolutely loved me, and made sure that I knew she loved me. So I felt like I was insulated from a lot because I don't know, what's any more important to a child, outside of knowing that their parent loves them, So there's that part of my story, and then the other part of the story is even though I went through some heavy parts, I also had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun because I was a kid just kind of built to be around and explore, and I was also a kid who had my own art, I created often, and you don't need a whole lot of friends to create. You can create on your own, and there's something about the act of creation and creativity that I think that resonates with our DNA. So all that to say, so if I were to here, I'll give you a synopsis of the memoir that I'm writing.
Yeah.
And my agent is shopping. So the name of the memoir is called Slicky Boy.
Slicky
right?
Boy.
Slicky
Okay.
Boy. Yeah, and I'll tell you why Slicky Boy just right after. But so the synopsis of the book goes like this: a fatherless black boy is born to a Korean prostitute a decade and a half after the Korean War. left to roam his camp town with a pack of homeless kids, little Milton fights, steals, and drinks as his mother works long hours. All into the age of 8, when he's adopted from the country that never claimed him by a black military family from Texas, the Washingtons. So Slicky Boy is about the love and the loss of one mother and a finding of another, with a lifetime of living in between. Right. So that's my that's the quick synopsis of the life. That's the quick synopsis of the story, and the relevance of the term Slicky Boy is in South Korea. If you live in what's called a camp town is a Korean town that basically revolves around a U.S. military base, because that's the economy, that's the protection, that's the dollar, the U.S. dollar. And so, and then what happens in these little camp towns is there's kind of a melding of cultures. Korean fried chicken came out of a camp town. You know, because it was the black soldiers, right? So, so if you are a Korean national, your language will change because, you know, not only will you learn some English, you know, but the American soldiers oftentimes learn some Korean. You know, but there was a word that was kind of birthed out of, you know, both cultures, and that word is called Slicky Boy. You know, because, you know, I don't know, Slicky Boy don't sound too regular English to me, you know what I mean? But because, you know, the Koreans knew the word slick from the soldiers, you know, they say Slicky Boy because it sounds almost kind of Korean in some ways. But Slicky Boy was a term that Korean nationals in camp towns used, as well as American soldiers used, to describe oftentimes little homeless kids that's running around on the streets, and they'll steal everything you got. Whatever you got, they'll steal it.
Wow.
Right? Because anything that's American is worth some money on the black market. So it's a common word for thief. And I use that for many reasons, because in many ways that's what I was. But also because I always say that I stole my way into the Washington family. Yeah, and that's a whole nother story.
Right.
But so yeah, it strongly identifies kind of who and what I was as a kid in South Korea.
Incredible. Yeah, very, very intense life story, and that is Milton, did a reading series at the old Rokmil. We're going to talk about Rokmil, the venue, but at the previous Rokmil venue, there was a really intense reading series of Milton reading from his memoirs. And I mean, you could hear a pin drop in those rooms because everyone's just like completely riveted by this unique story of his, true story, of course. And we're going to get right into the discussion of Milton's incredible invention, which is the Rokmil Indigenous Fitness system. I've participated in Rokmil Fitness on numerous occasions. I strongly recommend it. It's a great system. It's something that's adaptable regardless of your age, your fitness level, and it's all based on African stools. So you walk into the place and you grab a rock, as they call them, and it's an African stool that then is the entirety of your workout equipment. And Milton leads the class, and everybody's all pumped up for the whole time, and then it culminates to just this sort of natural high that everyone feels as soon as they've completed the Rokmil training session. It's like high fives and good vibes all around, because your brain is flooded with those neurotransmitters that make you feel good. So Milton, tell us about Rokmil Fitness, about how it came to you, and the concepts, the underpinning of the system.
Yeah, and before I get into the actual fitness, because really what Rokmil is, it's really a community. Mm-hmm. It's just a community of kind of like-minded folks that come together and do good for each other and support each other. And as a matter of fact, the word Rokmil is ROKMIL. Don't put a C in that, as in rock. This is ROK. And it's ROK because it's Republic of Korea.
Oh, okay.
And MIL for Milton.
All right.
Because it's a promise that I made when I was a 4-year-old kid. I caught a lot of hell, for being different and being black in South Korea. When that's all I knew. I was just a Korean kid, I knew I looked different, but I'm like, listen, I'm the only one out here with abs. So I'm like, why y'all tripping on me? I remember being a 4-year-old kid as I caught that ridicule. I made a promise to those kids. They didn't hear it out loud because I wasn't, they wouldn't talk to me like that. But I said, number one, I'm the kid from all of us who's going to make it to America. Mm. That's a dream. That's like winning the lotto twice. I'm going to make it to that country that's got flying cars and moving sidewalks and with cities that floated in the clouds with mountains made out of ice cream. And everybody was fat because everybody ate. That's the country I thought that I was going to get to. But I said, out of all of us, I'm the one that's going to get to America. Right. So I'm going to achieve that. And then when I get to America, one day I'm going to become big and strong. Mm. And I'm going to have some power, just like you guys have some power over me. Mm. But with that power, I'm going to show you can have power and be good. Mm-hmm. So Rokmil is that promise. Mm-hmm. This is a space of good. I've been through a lot of people in my life. I know who vibes well and who doesn't. And I don't care I don't care what you got to offer me, I'm not interested. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And if you're good, and I don't care, you could be a goofy individual, quote unquote, you could be the nerd, you can be the quiet, you're welcome here because you're good. Mm-hmm. And so that's what Rokmil as a community is. And part of Rokmil, the part of Rokmil community is Rokmil Fitness, which will have many of us moving in unison when you're doing Rokmil together. Mm. And there's something about that movement in unison that's a very, very interesting thing. And to Jeremiah, to answer your question, kind of what Rokmil is, it's a system of movements that we do to the beat around the support of an African stool. Mm. It's a Bamileke stool from Cameroon. They're carved from a single piece of wood, and they're very, very strong and sturdy. And they're typically around 15 inches high, and they're round like a drum. And you could use this to provide you with all sorts of support as you move about. Mm-hmm. And when you're moving to the beat and you doing so with support, you could be injured. Mm-hmm. I needed double knee replacement surgery, so that's how I invented Rokmil. And you could have joint pain, you could be out of shape, you could be the 88-year-old professional dancer with multiple surgery and can do it, and all of a sudden, after 3 sessions, you're talking about how your mobility is returned, and you haven't moved like this in years. You could be the little old lady who came in on the cane, hunched over, and now she's like 3 inches taller, and she lost the cane in 10 sessions.
Wow.
And or you could be like the person with severe scoliosis, and 3 people have had severe scoliosis, and then X-rays after doing Rokmil, those X-rays changed dramatically. Mm-hmm. So Rokmil is, I call it indigenous fitness because these movements are natural. They're tied to moving to the beat, which is, again, natural, frequency and rhythm. And you have a support that allows you opportunity for deep introspection as you move about and move your body. If you want to get to the higher planes of self, energetic, vibrational, spiritual, etc., you really want to learn through the body. That's the easy access. And you're talking to your body. And those lessons and that access to yourself applies in all these other planes. You really need to kind of know yourself to kind of heal yourself.
Yep.
Right? Because traumas have a way of setting in parts of the body, and you don't, that part of the body ain't even moving.
Right.
And you done forgot how it used to move because you're just used to moving in your own kind of natural way now. Rokmil allows you the freedom to do whatever you want, whenever you want, or latch onto the beat and roll with us, but to explore the body, and you can do so with a support, and that's the key. And to kind of push even further to support to the community level, when you are around a bunch of people who believe in art, and oftentimes they're very good at what they do, and they're open to inspiration. All of a sudden, maybe you got a new business partner, or you got a new customer, you got new this, new that, and these people are providing support. So Rokmil kind of poses the question, who are you if you had a bit more support in your life now? So, and yeah, we can get to talking for days on that, but that's kind of in a summary what Rokmil is, and but the day that I founded it, I was experiencing terrible knee pain, and he was waking me up in the middle of the night because I had already been to the orthopedic. They already told me that you need double knee replacement surgery because you're bone on bone. So I, like I said, I was waking up in the middle of the night because of the pain. I went to the doctor, and the orthopedic was like, you've been bone on bone, and you need double knee replacement surgery. We told you needed that 5 years ago. But I was 48 at the time, and I was still very resistant to double knee replacement. I already had 4 knee surgeries as an ex-college football player, and I used to actively play competitive racquetball. But at the age of 48, the way it happens with knee surgeries is you get these new knees and you feel good, and then you go over the next 7, 8, 9 years and you burn them out again. You got to switch up again. And knee replacement, like hip replacement, it's major surgery. And I done been under too many times, and I was just like, it's like me and motorcycles. I used to have motorcycles. I said, I done dodged so many bullets. I ain't never getting another motorcycle, because my credit ain't good now. You know what I mean? I get on the bike, boom, terrible things can happen. So I told my doctor, I said, listen, I had a clean, because I'm an artist. I had a real good kind of pipeline to some clean weed, which is good for pain. And I said that I was going to explore some CBD topicals, and I was going to exhaust physical therapy. So they're like, hey, you got to go 2 to 3 PT sessions a week, which I hate. I hate PT. Even first of all, it's always work to get there. And then when you get there, it's the lighting, the smell, and the moans. I don't know. It's just I don't like it. I never have, and I hate how arduous and boring it is too. And so the next morning, I was after I had this schedule of 2 to 3 sessions a week that I had to go to now. I was having coffee. I was smoking on a little bit of Kush, and I was trying to figure out how I'm going to do these PT sessions in my already busy schedule. And I was like, I saw the African stool that was normally in the bathroom in the living room that morning. And the music was on, which is rare for me in the morning. And I said, I'm going to use that stool to get into positions, but instead of doing, and to do all my PT sessions, all my PT movements, but instead of boring PT, I'm going to do these PT movements to the beat.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did 5 songs worth that morning, and all just felt like a dance, like I was out on the playground.
Mm-hmm.
I had a good time,
Mm-hmm.
and it fed my creativity because I was just exploring because I had this stool. And when I got up, I was drenched. My abs were locked up, and a lot of my knee pain was gone. It was proper PT on the knees.
Right.
And I continued to do it for the next several months, and I lost 30 pounds, and which is something that I would have never imagined because I'm terrible with food. And all of my knee pain was gone. My sciatic back pain was gone. My shoulder pain was gone. I was just like, what is this? And then later, about 6 months later, I opened it up to kind of friends and family, and the results were the same. They were that dramatic, and they were fast.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's Rokmil.
Yeah, incredible.
Yeah.
Like I said, I can attest to the Rokmil system. It's a lot of fun, and you feel great doing it. And it's something that's going to address your flexibility. It's going to increase your endurance. There's a strength training component, and you go at your own pace. So at no point do you feel like, oh, wait, this is too much for me. You can modify the movements according to your fitness level and your body's personal history. So please make it a point to make your way up to Rokmil and get involved with this incredible program. And I wanted to actually talk for a moment about, and by the way, if you want to call in and ask a question or share something with us, we'd love to hear from you. The number is 888-874-4888. So give us a call, get in the queue. But I wanted to ask Kevin Nathaniel, and then we'll swing back over to Milton Washington. But we do these 5-2-8 jam sessions at Rokmil, which we're going to talk about here in this interview. But one thing that's so great about the jam sessions is, as excited as I am to play and as excited as I am to share the 5-2-8 frequency concept with the world, one of the exciting things about our monthly jam is the venue.
Yes.
Right? So
Yes.
just tell us about your impressions about this wonderful venue in Harlem, Kevin.
Yeah, well, I want to pick up on something that was just said. Milton just said it's a community. And this is the saying, I'm sure you've heard it, that if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go with people. And community is all about that. And so Rokmil is about community. And that's really the beautiful thing. When you go up there, you feel it right away. I mean, you're right there in literally the center of Harlem, the center of the known universe. And here we are with all this community. The first day we went up to Rokmil to talk to Milton, we stood outside, and I ran into maybe 20 people who I knew on the street.
Yeah.
And so I said, you could have an event up here unannounced, and you're going to have people show up. So that's the beautiful thing about Rokmil. And so we've enjoyed every second of being there, and also tying in with this 5-8 hertz to this concept of indigenous fitness, indigenous healing. Because when you're into the thread of indigenous fitness, then you're into the thread of indigenous healing, and that's something that allows us to do something really special, and that's connect with our ancestral wisdom. Ancestral wisdom is something that is very powerful and very important for us to connect with. I mean, just the whole fact that, the place is full of these Bamalike stools. This is, again, we're talking about an indigenous approach to even making a stool, and then how would you use that stool? And then to come in and, talk about to the beat. That's one of the things that we are doing there. We have all kinds of percussion and all kinds of drums going off, and Jeremiah's playing bass. He's got sometimes he's playing all these loops, very rhythmic stuff. I'm playing shakerees and kalimbas. This whole idea of bringing this world of music, this world of rhythm, rhythm, which is healing in itself, and then the concept of this 5 to 8 hertz, which is a frequency which has a healing effect. So yeah, it's been really incredible being up there at Rokmil, and I've been impressed. We've been impressed with the whole vibe of the place. Yeah.
Excellent. I want to hear Milton give us a quick description of his venue, but we actually have some callers on the line. So tell us about Rokmil and the current location, Milton, the new location.
Yeah.
And then let's get to Raymond on the phone in the Bronx. But first, tell us about Rokmil.
Yeah, so Rokmil is at 274 Lenox Avenue, which is right at Lenox between 123rd, 124th. For all the folks who are familiar with Rice High School back in the day, we are the first brownstone in from Rice High School, right across the street from Whole Foods, and right across the street from Harlem Shake. Now, the building used to be, well, the commercial floors, the ground floor and the second floor and the patio outside, used to be the Indian restaurant called Chawale. Yeah, so, and then we also have my partner in this space. You know, in many ways, the whole building is known as Rokmil We. And we, my partner Louise, she's a Reiki master, and she has on the 4th floor, you know, kind of a bit of a sanctuary of a space that she provides Reiki to our community members. It's a room called the Attunement Portal that we take very seriously. Because it's nothing. It's pure healing going on in that room, right? But then there's the rest of the 4th floor is a bit of a lounge and a coming together space. Not only a coming together space for other programming, but that programming is homegrown programming. You know, we have somebody who is certified in seminars for menopause, right? She provides that seminar every several weeks, right? We have somebody, she also has the book club. And then we also have somebody who, she's a real estate broker, but she also runs Sana Kitchen, who creates these national traditional Puerto Rican foods.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And we encourage, because part of wellness is, you know, making sure that your pockets are right. Right? And, you know, that side hustle that can grow to a bigger thing. We encourage you to leverage the space, leverage the community, and get engaged so that you can push your commercial ventures. So that, you know, maybe, you know, you might have been born out of here, but then all of a sudden you got your own studio, right? We want that. We want to encourage entrepreneurship.
Right.
You know, we want to encourage creativity. We encourage getting plugged in, right? So we have on the ground floor and the second floor, oftentimes there'll be a lot of photography outside, showing a lot of my work. I have a book out called Stepping Out that I did with New York Times bestselling novelist Connie Briscoe. It's about 50 black folks over the age of 50 with style that I went around the U.S. shooting on iPhone. But there's a lot of photography, there's a lot of art and a lot of beauty. Not only art, I'm just saying you guys are there because we have a reverence for art. We have a reverence for art and artists and artistry. And we believe that finding your art is one of the keys to life. Find your expression and consume good expression. You know, me personally, you know, I've had debates with, you know, my fellow artists about this, but I don't think all art is, you know, good art. I don't, because I think if art doesn't resonate, you know, it falls short of being able to tell a story, and storytelling is, I think, one of the highest art forms.
Yep.
You know, so this place is a place that many of us come through Rokmil Fitness, and then stay for a lot of the programming from the wellness experience, led by my partner Louise. And then we come together and not only do good for each other and have opportunities for growth, but and then we come together and do stuff, do some good for our community, because that's the promise that I made when I was 5 in Korea. I say this. If you feel kind of discombobulated in this crazy world of 2026 that we're in, if you feel you need better grounding, and this might not even be cool to say, but if you feel you need some new friends,
Yeah, there you go.
whether you've outgrown them or they've gotten a little crazy. They done been down some rabbit holes and they keep talking some stuff every time you see them. You're like, oh God, I can't do it. Whatever that thing is. This is a place where you can come in and relax the nervous system. Nobody's after you. There's no ulterior motives. This is just good people, and there's lots of things to do here as we continue to build this plane as we fly it. But first thing, get plugged into Rokmil Fitness.
Yeah. Excellent. So we actually have calls, and we want to go to Raymond from the Bronx. How are you today, Raymond?
Hey, man. How you doing, man?
Doing great.
How
Thank
you
you.
doing, Mr. Jeremiah? I heard one of your shows a long time ago, because I just came across on PRN, and I just loved it right away, man.
Oh, I appreciate
Gary
that.
Null, two of my favorite shows on here. But I'm 48 years old, man. I'm 48, a proud Gen Xer, probably like the both of you.
Yeah.
We grew up in the 80s and stuff. I never lifted weights. I was never athletic. I was never in sports. But from the time I was even in kindergarten, I just like to walk a lot. And that evolved to me riding my bike. I used to ride my bike like crazy in the 90s. I used to ride at Orchard Beach. We have 2 steep hills, one in the Bronx called Kingsbridge Terrace, and we got Fort George Hill in the Heights. I used to ride up them hills. I used to challenge myself every weekend.
Yeah.
And it was hard, man. It was hard, but I was at my peak shape, like 9'6", 9'7". But I haven't lifted weights and jogged and stuff and worked out in almost 30 years, but I have that functional strength that never goes away. I'm like 200 pounds, 6'2". I never had no kids, not married, never did no drugs. And we're just like a small percentage of black men, especially in the city, that are just so pure. We don't have no toxins in our bodies and stuff. And we're not really talked about. Everybody puts persona black man, weed smoking, stand on the corner and all that. But there's a small percentage that's doing the right thing, that's trying to be healthy, because the city is it's not healthy, man. Especially around Brooklyn Boulevard. The air is just bad in South Bronx.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But another thing I wanted to say is, we lost the icon, man, Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
If you grew up in the 80s and stuff, you watch his movies and everything. And I think all of us have Chuck Norris living within us, because I think he was there was no other white guy like him.
That's funny. Yeah, well, thank you so much, Raymond. Really appreciate the call. And come through this Sunday if you can. It'd be great to meet you in person. And everyone, please check out The Bassline. That's BASSLINE.podbean.com. So check out the archives of The Bassline. And you can go to YouTube now and type in The Bassline Podcast. Please become a subscriber, and please share the link. We really need community support to spread the word about these weekly conversations. But thank you so much, Raymond. I believe my mom is on the phone. How are you doing, Mom?
Hi, darling. How are you?
Doing great, thanks. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, unfortunately, we couldn't hear anything that Raymond was saying.
Oh, no.
Yes, I hope I'm not on the lockout list also.
We hear you.
Yeah, we hear you loud and clear.
No, I know you heard it, but
Yeah.
I, as the listener, couldn't hear him at all.
Uh-oh, that's a bummer.
Uh-huh. I was just calling to reaffirm everything you guys are saying, that it is a little piece of paradise in the middle of this incredibly insane city.
Yeah.
And I even took 2 of the fitness classes, and I loved them, Milton, even though you haven't seen me in a while.
Oh, it's all
I
good.
do promise
It's
I
all
shall return, but
Yep, you'll
it
get
is
back there.
so invigorating and inspiring. It's unbelievable. It's something that you have to really experience, really understand what everybody is saying, because words are one thing, but it's a whole emotional experience, a whole inspirational experience,
Yeah.
and it's a place to grow, to get into your own self and your own mind and expand. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful experience. So everyone and anyone who can attend this Sunday at starting at 3:30 should definitely make it a point to be there and find your life. And as you said, it's a community, so you meet really wonderful people. It's just very, very beautiful.
Excellent. Thank you so much,
Thank
Mom.
you.
Thanks for calling, and thanks for the testimonial.
Yeah, thank you.
And I want to, before we go to the next call, which is another good friend, our brother Craig Blue, who's going to be there on Sunday and who's been a guest on this program, as well as actually the only other person other than Kevin Nathaniel right now who's been a co-host of the Bassline. But before we get to the next call, I do need to announce a few things in terms of how to support this program. Well, one thing is March 29th, that's this Sunday, come to Rokmil, 274 Lenox Avenue, 3:30 p.m. are the doors. Music gets started shortly thereafter. Come to the 528 jam session. It's the only 528 jam session in New York.
That's right.
And our music is tuned to the divine tuning of 528, meaning my A string, instead of being 440, is 444, which then aligns for the number 528 to appear in correspondence with the note C, which is the frequency of the sun and the human heart. And come experience the one and only 528 jam session in New York. So that's this Sunday, 3:30 p.m. Frontierfarm.com, and that's farm with a PH, FRONTIERPHARM.com. They are the leading distributors, providers of chlorine dioxide products, which there's a chlorine dioxide revolution taking place at this point. People are realizing, oh, wait a second, I can avoid having to go to the doctor through taking care of myself, and chlorine dioxide is a great means to do so in terms of oral hygiene, skin care. You can sprinkle some chlorine dioxide on your toes and make your toe fungus go away. You can put it in your ears and get rid of an ear infection. There's a book out now called The War on Chlorine Dioxide by Dr. Pierre Corey. So, I mean, conferences are happening about this particular substance and how helpful it can be as a prophylactic and something to have in your medicine cabinet. And you enter the discount code The Bassline, so it's capital THE space BASSLINE, and get a substantial discount from, for anything on their catalog. So that's frontierfarm.com. Also, privateiptvaccess.com. Private IPTVACCESS.com. privateiptvaccess.com. Code capital J, capital HOSEA. J Hosea is your discount code at Private IPTV Access. And basically, if you're paying a cable bill, there's really no reason for that. If you have the internet, ditch the cable, get IPTV, and you have 50,000 channels. I have television from Libya on my system. How do you have a television station in Libya at this point? It's a failed state, but they still have TV. You have all the sports channels, you have all the movie channels, you have more television than you could ever possibly watch. So please make use of that code. Of course, check me out on Substack. I'll have a new article out in a couple of days, but Jeremiah Hosea on Substack. Please subscribe. I just broke the 2,600 subscribers mark. Please spread the word about my writing, and help me power my way up to 3,000 subscribers. JeremiahHosea.com. Check out the theme song of this show. Check out my first album, No One's Slave, and a bunch of original music, which isn't just made by computers. I don't have anything against people making music with computers, but I like people making music as well. So come check out original music featuring all kinds of awesome musicians who contributed to my work. And also tonight, End All Tyranny on X. We have a new community. It's the End All Tyranny community. Please join us tonight from 9 p.m. to midnight, the Bassline Extra. We're doing a space as we do every night, and we're approaching 500 members of that community, and we're pretty new. We're less than 2 months old, so please help us grow that community. We have doctors, we have lawyers, we have all sorts of incredible people who share their experiences and their knowledge on a nightly basis on End All Tyranny. So let's get back to the phones. We have Brother Craig Blue on the line. How you doing, Blue?
Mic check.
We hear you.
You all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Happy birthday happy belated birthday or birthday to Kevin Nathaniel.
Oh, thank you, Brother Craig. Thank you.
Of course. And always good to hear from my wonderful brother Milton. I'm glad to hear you three gentlemen in one space at the same time, sending out love. That's a beautiful thing.
Good to hear from you.
Yeah. So I just wanted to call and say I love all you gentlemen, love all the work that you do. You know, I've been a part of Rokmil, and it has helped with my own therapy and knee therapy, getting back to surfing. So I can definitely attest I'll only say this once, as a 58-year-old man, that I'm in damn good shape because of Rokmil.
Yep.
You know it.
Right.
Yes,
Respect.
indeed. And I'm in damn good shape because of my friend Jeremiah and Kevin Nathaniel, because I play music with these fellas, and it's always a pleasure. I'll see you all on Sunday, and just keep up the great work, gentlemen.
Thank
Love
you, brother.
all.
Thank you, Brother
Love
Craig.
you too, brother. Great to hear
See
from
you Sunday.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So, great to hear from our brother Craig Blue. He's going to be jamming with us on Sunday. He's an incredible visual artist and also a percussionist, and always brings a joyous energy to our spaces. So let's see, we have another call, I believe. Who's next? Oh, we have Pete from Kansas. Thanks for calling, Pete.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Jeremiah. It's Keith.
Oh, Keith. Oh, okay. It's my good friend Keith. I was like, hey, who's Pete? Okay, no, it's Keith. How you doing, brother? I lost you, Keith. Talk right into your phone.
I'm sorry. I was calling in about inviting your guests to our show tonight on X, the End All Tyranny community. I'd like to bring him in there and talk more about what he was talking about here today. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would be great. He doesn't have X, but maybe he can log into the space. I'll send him the link. We'll see if it's possible. Can you listen?
We'll make him get us an X account.
I guess I got to do that eventually.
Maybe me too.
Hey,
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Have a great show, great day. This show was awesome, but I'd like to hear more about his exercise regime, as I've got a bummed up knee too. So
All right.
I'd like to hear more about it. I was doing car maintenance at the time, so I couldn't hear everything, but it's a great show. And I'd like to thank you and see you tonight, Jeremiah.
Yeah, talk to you in a bit,
Thank
Keith.
you. And then also just go to rokmil.com just to learn a little bit more. ROKMIL.com.
Yeah. So everyone, keep that website handy and spread it around. Take a look at it and share it with others. And thanks so much for calling, Keith. Keith is a great co-host. He's just a great guy all around, super supportive. He's the promoter in the community who jumps in there and supports everybody who's doing something positive and interesting. He's the guy pushing that along and, giving people a lot of props. So really great guy to know and a good friend, Keith, down in Kansas. So, yeah, we have this event coming up this Sunday, and we are going to be doing the 528 jam session once again, and I really would love to see you guys there. We've had some PRN listeners come through on several occasions, but I'd really like to see like a PRN crew up there. You know, I'd love to see a bunch of PRN people there at one time, because, you know, we have to make use of good venues and good spaces. It's becoming increasingly rare. I grew up in New York, and the thing that makes me the most sad about what's happening to this city, I mean, there's a lot of things I could talk about actually, but one thing I'll explain to people when I talk about how New York has changed is that the places I would have taken you to 20 years ago to show you that New York was the coolest place in the world, most of them are gone. And sadly, they're always being replaced with unoriginal places, right? They get bought out, and it turns into a McDonald's,
Starbucks,
Burger King,
Chase Bank,
TD Bank, right, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, so that's really sad. So Rokmil is just one of those places that makes me feel that good New York energy that I used to feel that seems so rare, that seems almost like it's getting killed off. You can come to Rokmil and get back to that good old feeling where people are having an honest to goodness good time, which is hard to come by, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So let's hear from Kevin and then Milton. Can you guys give your personal invitation for this Sunday?
Yeah, certainly. I really would love to see as many people out there in the listening audience as possible come through on Sunday. You're going to have a great time. You're going to be really thrilled and surprised, I guarantee you. The minute you walk in, because you feel the vibes. The vibes are high vibes all the way. And even before the music starts. When the music starts, the vibes go really off the chain. I mean, it's just indescribable at that point. You know, I mean, that's when we get to the point where people lose track of what time it is. The only time we remind people what time it is when it reaches 5:28 on the clock.
Right.
But other than that, it just becomes this really beautiful experience where the music just takes you and uplifts you, and the vibe of the place, and everybody's having a good time. You feel connected to everybody. So we look forward to seeing you there on Sunday.
Absolutely. Milton, go ahead.
Yeah, you know, I'd like to kind of put a thought kind of in the minds of a lot of folks, and maybe pose a question. You know, when's the last time you've been inspired? You know, when have you? And I'm saying, you know, and what is inspiration? Inspiration is, you know, it's when something hits you, and you know you have this kind of almost epiphany, and usually inspiration brings about change. Not only just a good immediate like experience in the moment, but it can bring about some change. And normally when you come into a place that inspires you, because the aesthetics of the Rokmil is just full of art, and it's very artsy inside, because it used to be an Indian restaurant. So it, you know, the aesthetics is, you know, it speaks a lot. It's very loud in that way. You know, but then when you walk into that space, and then you have this kind of off the beaten path performance with really, really high caliber artists who are doing a little something different. Like that's what New York is. You know, that is what New York is. So, you know, so I really welcome you to come with your eyes and your ears and your heart just wide open, and see if you can catch some inspiration. You know, because there's a high likelihood of it.
Absolutely. And we can't forget to remind you of the address, 274 Lenox Avenue. So you take the 2 or the 3 train to 125th, and you don't even have to walk a block and a half south of that. and you're right there. It's right on the avenue. No twists and turns, no confusing elements about that. Just walk down Lenox just a little bit. And Rokmil, aside from the vibes, it's a clean place, actually. It's a nice actual location. That's another thing to mention. It's not just like, oh yeah, good vibes, but it's kind of like a raggedy place. No, it's a nice place. So please come and make yourself familiar with this venue. It's a bastion in Harlem, which, Harlem is pretty rough in a lot of ways. There's a lot of stuff going on in the streets. It's not the cleanest. The subway station is kind of gross, honestly. There's drug addicts in the streets. It's, if you travel around and you compare it to your average European city, or Brother Kevin has been in Japan on numerous occasions, it's not the nicest area in general, but there's a lot of love, there's a lot of vibes, and Rokmil is an actual nice place to be in Harlem. It's clean, it's well put together in every way. So please come and check out what has been achieved there, just in terms of putting a really nice venue on the map that people can enjoy. And I want to shout out the engineers in the next room. Peter, our engineer, it's his birthday today, so happy birthday to Peter. And thank you to Kevin. Kevin is just an outstanding engineer. He puts a lot of heart and soul into what happens at this station. And who knows what would be going on if we didn't have him holding down the fort. So thanks to those fellas. And we just pretty much have 1 minute to go here. So I want to thank you, Milton Washington, for being here. Thank you for all that you do. You're a real community man who contributes to a lot of different people's lives in a lot of different ways. So that I specifically really wanted him to join me on the air here, because I think that we have to give props to the good people out there. A lot of folks, we have every right to complain. I will never tell somebody don't complain. Everybody has a right to complain. But try to make it a ratio that you're spending at least half of your time giving props to the good people doing good things, right? Because we could just say how upset we are about all these things. Well, make sure to give credit to the people doing good things more than you complain, ideally. And then, of course, you could do your complaining, because we all have a right to do that. Brother Kevin Nathaniel, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you. It's a real pleasure all the time.
Yeah, and so we'll be back next week for the Bassline. Everyone have a beautiful rest of your day. Everybody have a great weekend, and we really hope to see you this Sunday at Rokmil Fitness, 274 Lenox, and the doors are at 3:30 p.m. Peace and love.
Peace.
You refrained.
I can.
He did a good job. I noticed that. Not a single curse word.
I can. I've been to church before.